Welcome back, welcome back. We have a great announcement to tell everyone about that's happening, actually starting this coming Monday morning, and it's going to be an early morning show, just like a lot of you people getting up and going to work, and you know, you want some little activity going in the background, so you turn your TV on, listen to weather and local stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Well, this program, instead of watching some of the national things, this will be a local Harrison/Mountain Home/26.1 coverage area of some of the local things that are going on in the area. And I want to introduce to you Jim Bumgardner, who is taking on this large project, and it's a kind of a personal passion of yours to do this thing. You are an addicted broadcaster.
You're an entrepreneur.
I'm a nut.
Okay. You're a nut.
But yeah, I can qualify for both of those, and I definitely fly the broadcaster flag very, very high.
Yeah. Well, tell us about why you want to do this. What's the concept behind? What's your drive? What makes Jim tick and want to give back to the community in this way?
Well, okay, and being a completely on my sleeve kind of guy, one of the big things is there. Okay, first I'm going to go very, 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 very self-centered. Okay, self-centered in that, number one, I don't like actually being on television. I don't like doing camera stuff. I don't. I love radio. Got a face for it, right? And so that's not the point. The thing is, though, is about 2 months ago, I turned the TV on and turned the antenna back on. Because actually, ironically enough, for all these years being in television, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, any kind. But I did, and I kicked it over, and I turned it over to 26.6, and there was Comet. And if you haven't watched Comet, you're missing out because it's fun. And I was watching Comet, and then it cut to commercial, and I was like, this is really broadcast. This is really broadcast. Mm-hmm. And that's different. I mean, some folks may not really feel it, but you will when I'm done with you, because there's something so wonderfully organic about broadcast television and broadcast radio that you're not there's something missing in cable and satellite networks and things like that. It's
homogenized,
very homogenized, and it's almost like, if you remember back in the old days when CDs first came around and they were transferring from vinyl to CD. The problem with the CDs were they hadn't perfected getting the highs leveled in properly in digitizing. So you would listen to a CD and the vinyl still sounded warmer because, well, the highs were missing. So, or, but the
subtle
point,
thing.
It's very, very subtle, but it means so much. And it just, boy, it popped me in, and I couldn't turn the TV off. And then I flipped over to 26.5, and then 26.7. I was like, oh, no, not news, not right now. And then I went back over to 26.4, and 26.3, and 26.2, and 26.1. And if you notice, I keep counting, and my thumb is getting tired because there's so much. And that was exciting. And I was like, I have to be a part of this again. I have to do this again. Because sure, for the past 9 years now, I've been doing broadcast television in one shape, form, or another. But with what Reynolds Media has done with digital television from the onset, has been amazing to watch grow, and that's exciting. It's very exciting because in being able to keep it alive through a dark time, because there was a dark period, man. You got to figure from say 2010 to 2014, everything was in such a hard transition when it came to broadcasting.
And most people were confused.
Very.
The term digital came out, and the satellite people immediately latched onto that and said, no, you are digital, when they weren't digital, and it confused everyone. And then everyone had to buy digital TVs or the converter boxes and stuff.
And it was a hoop, and it became a hassle, and it was confusing. And again, you look at your Dish, Direct, and those other satellite providers, they could, for what they would admit, could see the writing on the wall when it came to quality. And they'd already convinced people that an antenna is bad, regardless of the fact that you have a satellite dish on the side of your house. Ain't much different. So, that was a way to spin people, you know what I'm saying? And people fell for it because it was easy. Bundle it with your phone packages and internet and things like that. But getting back that feel of because another thing about broadcast that is so cool, that some salespeople would spin around and say it's a liability is you're in the moment and you're on demand. You're right there. If you are, well, you're not on demand, excuse me, you're in the moment and you can't back up. Sure, you can buy a TiVo unit and record everything, but that's not the point. If you miss it, you missed it. Mm-hmm. That's exciting to me. Because now I want to wait again. I'm going to sit through the commercials, or I'll channel surf till I come back to it. But the point is that there's just something so wonderfully organic. My daughter, Caitlin, she's 7 years old, so she's completely removed from broadcast. She's been around television her whole life, but she's been away from broadcast. But now, it's so cool, and it drives Alicia nuts that she.
Alicia's your wife.
Yeah, Alicia's my wife, by the way. She requests to watch broadcast TV. She specifically says broadcast TV because she gets it in some weird little bitty mind way. She gets it, and it's fun to her. It's like because it's the challenge of waiting. But anyway, so that's the thing. The broadcast bug came back full blossom, and then secondly, and what's been a very big issue of mine for many years, long before I even came to this market, is the fact that news has been so. We'll just call it commercialized in what it is. If it bleeds, it leads, right? It's always been that way. But that's not exactly the
an
news.
opinion now is more of a
Oh.
news item than,
Exactly.
than
Yes.
the real facts of what's going on. I would rather know about the facts of an event or an accident or something that happened in the world. I just want to know who, what, when, where, how, and why. I don't want to know how you feel about it.
Exactly.
You can form your own opinion that way.
I get-
or you
I-
can't
yeah.
anyway, but
Yeah.
it's just.
Well, and that's the thing, because the talking head news aspect with that opinion based, or what's the term they use? I can't remember. It's irrelevant anyway. But you watch Fox, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, even ABC, NBC, CBS, the old schoolers. They all interject so much editorial that it's crazy, and it's drivel. You know, now if in fairness, and maybe I'm sucking up a little bit because of the channel, the family of channels, but like Newsmax, one of the things I like about those guys is very, very clear what they're doing. When you watch like Joe Pags, I mean, the man's talking into a microphone a la radio style. You know this man is giving you his opinion. Okay, there's a difference between that and then what people are accustomed to with the guy behind the desk in the suit and tie, that's different. So when it comes to creating a news product that is relevant to trying to inform, because again, distribution, we've talked about that before, distribution is so wide now thanks to the internet and broadcast and satellite cable and all these things. So you've got all that going on. You know, it's everybody got so much and now they get so little because they have so much. So in putting together the daily news hour, the intent is to focus specifically on the underserved, which is North Central Arkansas. But we're not as underserved as you would think. You just don't know where to look because there's a lot of great resources. The Baxter Bulletin, the Harrison Daily Times, KTLO, KTHS. Those entities have such great newsrooms still. Small, but they're there. But most folks don't even think to look or go or listen or anything else.
Or we're so fragmented
Exactly.
in our approach to where we get our news. And for me, I've kind of analyzed this over the years, is that we all want some kind of news so we are connected with the world around us. But if we're Facebooking all day long, that satisfies that, so we don't really
That
care.
becomes our world.
It's not that we don't care, it's we just don't hear it. I don't hear local news anymore because it's so fragmented.
Exactly, and then that's like that catch-22. The thing with social that is great is because you can get your word out, but who's going to see it? You don't know. You shoot for the win there, and there's a whole other discussion there. But it also can fester really bad elements to where you've got certain pages where people do reviews and critiques and this, that, and the other, and they take it to an extreme, and it just becomes a troll breeding ground, and everybody hops on a bandwagon and beats up on a restaurant or a store or a person or whatever, and it's terrible. And so there's a detachment, and that gets back to your point there when it comes to the local news aspect. Here's the thing. If the local media, radio, television, newspaper, all of us, if we are not speaking in a unified voice of some sort about what's happening, people don't know what's going on, and there's a detachment inside the community. Now, if you think about what's on CNN, NBC, CBS, Fox, all these guys, they're all saying the exact same thing, and that's why everybody's talking about that exact same thing. And if the locals, and I understand a lot of the reasoning. I mean, staff shrunk, budget shrunk, people went away, don't want to do this anymore. That product is gone. I want to bring it back, and actually I'm going to bring it back. And that's exactly what's happening, because with the Daily News Hour, we'll open up the show every, 6 a.m. straight up live from 6 until 6:05. I'm going to give you the headlines. I'm going to give you the quick sports and the weather. And
Well, hold that note. I want to take a break.
Yeah, let's
We,
do that.
we've talked quite a bit during this segment. We'll give people time to take a break, and we're going to get real specific about what the show's going to be, when it's on, why it's live, how they can interact, what kind of content it is, and why it's going to be a very important thing for people to tune into every day. We'll talk about that.
Well, I didn't know there was a test. Hold on.
We'll be right back. Couple minutes worth of ads that we have to get in, and we'll be back right after this. Stay with us.